me see. Hopefully the sound works. Testing. Sound works. Testing. We swap. All right. Here's get started. Testing. Give me a second, real quick. Slack here. All right, Shalom Yabashim Shabrakathum to the brothers. Shalom Yahawashim Alatab Bashim Yahashai to the sisters. We, the Isupk Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge, started out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yahana, and we are not affiliated with any other Israelite group. Now, today, we're going to be talking about a few things, but we're going to start off with, Veterans Day. For those of y'all who don't know, Veterans Day was just the other day. Not that it really matters because it's a pagan holiday, right? But we're going to be reading about how when we went to war, right? This is real warfare when we served under our armies, our military forces. Veterans Day, we'll get more into that later because we really shouldn't be honoring Veterans Day, us as a people, us as Blacks, Latinos, and Natives, because we were the people that were conquered by the Europeans. Now we're celebrating a holiday where we have served in their armies to help them conquer other nations. And then we, of course, always get ridiculed. So with that being said, we'll just drop that, right? So ready?
Come.
All right. I might him, just me and a brother up here. Sorry, excuse me. Sorry.
La Yasharala,
Which means to Israel in the Hebrew. Sorry, face me. Sorry. Sorry, face me. All right. So, Amadim Apon Yahakodam, which means to rise or stand and face the east. And we'll begin started with the Lord's Prayer. In the Hebrew. It's like, give me 1 second. All right, it's the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Ayah, Shemka, Yahweh, Malak with Ka, Taba'ah, Ratazaka, Aisha, Ratazah, Kawa, Ayah, Bashamayim, Latanyanawa, Come, call, Yawam, Wasalaknawa, Kabawatnawa, Kasalaknawa, Kabawatinawa, Wala'ah, Tabayanawa, Saiwan, Ball, Habashinawa, Mayun, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwa, Wa'ala, Wataparath, La Walunyam, Amen.
The Lord's Prayer in the English. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yahweh, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth, as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it.
Hakah, which is the power in the Hebrew. Yahweh. Ba'ashem. Yahushai. Baba Kasha. Latanyanawa. Hakah. Rapa'ah. Call. Makalah. Wakal. Madawa. Hakah. Matahar. Ha. Matazariah. Hakah. Lahaquayim. Hamathiam. Hakah. Ayel. Makawath. Tama'ala. Garshan. Ba'ashem. Yahushai. Water.
Amen. The power in the English, Yahweh. In the name of Yahushai. Please give us the power. The power to heal. All manner of sickness. And all manner of disease. The power to cleanse the lepers. The power to raise the dead. The power against unclean spirits. To cast them out. In the name of Yahushai. Thank you. So be it.
The blessings in the Hebrew. Barakatah Yahweh, Wa Yahushai, Amiyaka Allah, Wa Alahayim, Matazab Ya'ah, Alawap Yahana, Ha'alawapyam, Hasaranyam, Hakbatazayoyim, Hakayayoyim, Wa Akwathim, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, the water. Amen.
The blessings in the English. Bless you, Yahweh. And Yahushai. And Michael. And the angels. Commanding General Yohanan. The generals. The captains. The officers. The troopers. And the sisters. Yahweh. In the name of Yahushai. Thank you.
So be it. Psalms 121 in the Hebrew. Asha'ah, Ayanya, All, Haharyam, Mayan, Yaba'ah, Azoriah, Ma'ayin, Yahweh, Asher, Shemayim, Wa'ratazah, Ayadan, Amawat, Galka, All, Yanawam, Shemarka, Anah, La'ah, Yanawam, Ala'ah, Yayashan, Shawamar, Yasharala, Yahweh, Shemarka, Yahweh, Zalka, Ayad, Yinimka, Yawamam, Hashamash, La'ah, Yakaka, Wayarat, Balayala, Yahweh, Yashamarka, Makal, Rai, Yashamar, Athnapashka, Yahweh, Yashamar, Kaza'athka, Maitha, Wa'id, Awalam.
Psalms 121 in the English. I will lift up mine eyes into the hills. From whence cometh my help? My help cometh from the Lord. Which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade. Upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day. Nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee. From all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out. And thy coming in. From this time forth. And even forevermore.
Psalms 83 in the Hebrew. Alahayim. All.
Tamiyaka.
All. Lakarash. All. Ashakwat. All. Kaya. Ana. Awayibika. Yahama. Yawam. Ra'ash. Ayal. Amaka. Ya'ayamwa. Sabbath. Waita, Yaitazawa, Ayel, Tazapawanyaka, Marwa, Lakawa, Wanakakidam, Wagoya, Salaki, Wala'ah, Yazakar, Shum, Yasharala, Iwada, Kaya, Yaitazawa, Laba, Yakadwa, Aliyaka, Mariath, Yakarathwa, Ahoya, Adawam, Wa, Yashma'alim, Mawa'aba, Wahagoyim, Gabal, Wayamawan, Wayamalak, Palashah, Amyashabia, Tazawar, Salakia. Lost myself. Salakia. Gum, Ashawar, Malawa, Imam, Hayawa, Zarwai, Labunya, Lawat, Salah, Aisha, Laham, Kamadian, Kasaya, Sarah, Kayabin, Manakal, Koyashwan, Shamawat, Bayan, Dara, Hayawa, Dama, Ladama, Shaitamo, Mada, Yamawa, Kaira, Kazabat, Kazabat, Katzomanai,
Solomon,
Call,
Call,
Nasayakama,
Asiyakama,
Ashar,
Ashar,
Amarwa,
Amarwa,
Mayarasha,
Narashah,
Lanawa,
Nawa,
Ath,
Ath,
Nawa,
Nawa,
Alahayam,
Alahayam,
Alahaya,
Alahaya,
Shayatamwa,
Shayathamwa,
Kagogala,
Kagogala,
Kakwash,
Kakwash,
Lapunya,
Lapunya,
Raka'a,
Raka'ah,
Ka'ash,
Ka'ash,
Saba Ira,
Taba Ira,
Ya Ira,
Ira,
Wa,
Wa,
Kalahaba,
Kalaba,
Kalahat,
Talaat,
Taryum,
Ayam,
Kun,
Kan,
Taradam,
Dabardabma,
Basa Arika,
Basa Abrika,
Wabasa,
Wabasa,
Kapatha,
Kapatha,
Tabahalam,
Halomam,
Mala'a,
Wala,
Panyahum,
Palahum,
Kwalawan,
Kalawan,
Waya,
Waya,
Bakwashwa,
Kwashwa,
Shemka,
Shomka,
Yahawa,
Yahawa,
Yabashwa,
Bakabashwa,
Wa, Slaki, Waya,
Waya,
Bahawa,
Bahawa,
Ayai,
Ayai,
Waya,
Waya,
Kaparwa,
Kaparwa,
Waya,
Waya,
Abadwa,
Abadwa,
Waya,
Waya,
Dayawa,
Daiwa,
Kaya,
Kaya,
Atha,
Atha,
Shemka,
Shomka,
Yahawa,
Yahawa,
Labaka,
Labaka,
Aliwan,
Iwan,
Alcohol,
Alcohol,
Haratas.
Haratazah. Psalms 83 in the English. Keep not thy silence, O God.
Keep not thy silence, O God.
Hold not thy peace.
Hold not thy peace.
And be not still.
And be not still.
O God.
O God.
For lo, thine enemies make a tumult.
Thine enemies make atonement.
And they that hate thee.
And they that hate thee.
Have lifted up the head.
Have lifted up the head.
They have taken crafty counsel.
They have taken crafty counsel.
Against thy people.
Against thy people.
And consulted.
And consulted.
Against thy hidden ones.
Against thy hidden
They have said.
They have said.
Come.
Come.
And let us cut them off.
And let us cut them off.
From being a nation.
From being a nation.
That the name of Israel.
That the name of Israel.
May be no more remembrance.
May be no more remembrance.
For they have consulted together.
For they have consulted together.
With one consent.
With one consent.
They are confederate against
They are confederate against
the tabernacles of Edom.
The tabernacles of Edom.
And the Ishmaelites.
And the Ishmaelites.
Of Moab. And the Hagarenes.
And the Hagarenes.
The Baal.
The Baal.
And Ammon.
And Ammon.
And Amalek.
And Amalek.
The Philistines.
The Philistines.
With the inhabitants of Tyre.
With the inhabitants of Tyre.
Ashur also was joined with them.
Ashur also was joined with them.
They have hope in the children of Lot.
They have hope in the children of Lot.
Salah.
Salah.
Do unto them.
Do unto them.
As unto the Midianites.
As unto the Midianites.
As to Sisera.
As to Sisera.
As to Jabin.
As to Jabin.
At the brook of Kissar.
At the brook of Kissar.
Which perished at Endor.
Which perished at Endor.
They became as dung for the earth.
They became as dung for the earth.
Make their nobles like Oreb.
Make their nobles like Oreb.
And like Zaid.
And like Zaid.
Yea.
Yea.
All their princes as Zabah.
All their princes as Zabah.
And as Zalmunna.
And as Zalmunna.
Who said? Let us take to ourselves.
Let us take to ourselves.
The houses of God in possession.
The houses of God in possession.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Make them like a wheel.
Make them like a wheel.
As a stubble before the wind.
As a stubble before the wind.
As the fire burneth the wood.
As the fire burneth the wood.
And as the flame set the mountains on fire.
As the flame set the mountains on fire.
So persecute them.
With
thy tempest.
With thy tempest.
And make them afraid.
Make them afraid.
With thy storm.
With thy storm.
Fill their faces with shame.
Fill their faces with shame.
That they may seek thy name.
That they seek my name.
O Lord.
O Lord.
Let them be confounded.
Let them be confounded.
And troubled.
And troubled.
Forever.
Forever.
Yea.
Yea.
Let them be put to shame.
Let them be put to shame.
And perish.
And perish.
That men may know.
That men may know.
That thou. Whose name alone.
Whose name alone.
Is Yahweh.
Is Yahweh.
Art the most high.
Art the most high.
Over all the earth.
Over all the earth. Sorry, excuse me. All right. You may be seated. We'll be starting with the book of Numbers, chapter 31, verses 1 through 7 in the Hebrew. Give the breakdown in the English.
1 through 7.
1 through 7, yep. We'll start at the very top.
The book of Numbers, chapter 31. 31, right?
31.
31, chapter 1 through 7. La'ah, why you da ba ra Yahweh ala ya mashaha la ma ra na quam qua so like na quamata bana ya Yashra Allah ma'ata hama daya nayam atara ta'asa taza so like ta'asa sana ala ya Ra. Why you da ba ra masha ha ala ya ha I'm la amara ha 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 hakwa la taza hakwa la tazawa ma'atakwam a ana an ana shayam la lataza ba'a wa ya ha ya wa I'll mada ya za la ta nakwamata ya hawa ba bama da ya za ala na lama ta ha ala na lama ta ha la mata wata yashra ala dashala kwaya la taza kwa a or ba'a why ma sawara ma'ala pa yasha ala ala na lama taha shana yum shama yum ashara ala na kwala wa tazaya tazaba ba'a waya sha la khwa atam masha ha ala na lama ta ha la taza ba'a atam let me see atam ata payana kwasa baza ala taza zara haka aza la taza ba'a wakala ya wa ata payana kwaza salaya kwayum baza ala zara haka haza la taza ba'a wakala waka la ya ha ha hakwa 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 dash wa wakwa wak wakwa tazara tazawa wata ha hata ra wa 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 I ha baya the wa why tazab kwa ka so like why tazab ka ba I la my da yaz my da yaza ka ashra tazai waha ya Yahweh ata masha ha waya ha raga wa kala zakara, and that's it.
That's it. Okay, so we're gonna start with Book of Numbers, chapter 31, verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Avenge the children of Israel of the Midianites. Afterward shalt thou be gathered unto thy people. And Moses spake unto the people, saying, Arm some of yourselves unto the war, and let them go against the Midianites, and avenge the Lord of Midian. And of every tribe 1,000, throughout all the tribes of Israel shall ye send to the war. This is when we were going to war with the Midianites. So there were delivered out, so there were delivered out of the thousands of Israel, 1,000 of every tribe, 12,000 armed for war. And Moses sent them to the war, 1,000 of every tribe, them and Phinehas of the son of Eleazar the priest, to the war with the holy instruments and the trumpets to blow in his hand. And they warred against the Midianites as the Lord commanded Moses, and they slew all the males. Now let's keep reading. And they slew the kings of Midian, beside the rest of them that were slain, namely Evi and Rakem and Zur and Hur and Reba, 5 kings of Midian. But Balaam, also the son of Beor, they slew with the sword. And the children of Israel took all the women of Midian captive. That right there should kind of give you an insight of what's going on right now. So just a quick recap, right? Because I just went through like 10 verses actually, damn near. So this is when we were going to war with the Midianites. So now, what was yesterday? Yesterday was Veterans Day, and it's to honor all of the veterans, all the people that served in your Marines, Navy, Army, Coast Guard, Air Force. Everybody, right? I myself am a veteran. Do I take any pride in serving in the white man's army, the white man's Navy, Marines, whatever you want to call it? No, I don't. Because so-called Black and indigenous people of the Americas, by the millions, have died throughout centuries during our Hellenization period when the Europeans came over here. And of course, brought the southern tribes with them, the so-called Black tribes, the ones that were in Africa at the time, right? Just so we're clear. So throughout this time, you got to really think about it. Why would you, as a so-called Black, Latino, or Native person, why would you want to honor your people serving in a military that killed your own people? Just think about that for a second. Of all the things that happen in America alone, just the United States, we're not even going to go to South America or the Caribbean islands, just the United States alone, all the carnage and bloodshed that was put on our ancestors. Now we go into the white man's army, the white man's Navy, the white man's Marines, and we serve under them. Why? I'll tell you why. I'll tell you from personal experience. It's because, you're trying to make it out the hood or whatever. Because I'm telling you, most Black people and most Latinos and Natives, when they come into the military, they're not patriotic. Most of them. I've seen a couple of COONs in there, but the average amount of us are not very patriotic. We're not in there because we love our country. We're in there because we're trying to make it out the ghetto. We're trying to make it out the barrios. We're trying to make it out the hood. We're trying to put on for our family. I know plenty of brothers who join because, you know, they got a wife and kid on the way and they're out of options, or they don't want to pay for college or don't have the money to pay for college. It's just resources. That's the real reason. Let's just keep it a buck. That's the real reason. No one really loves the white man's military, because when you go in there, you're faced with a cruel reality. These are not your people. When I went into basic training, they told me, you know, there is no such thing as color here. We all bleed blue. The biggest lie ever. When you in there, I'm not even going to talk about just Esau. I'm talking about all the heathens who are put above you. Because if they're above you, they have like, they damn near own you. That's what they make it seem like. It's basically like modern day slavery. All right. And if you say anything to oppose them, you get chastised horribly for it. You might get money taken away from you, restriction. You might get demoted, whatever happens. Right. But you go in there and I learned the hard way many times that these are not my people. At least the ones who are the heathens, of course. You understand? So that's what we got to take into mind, right? You should not honor, you know, your brethren and your sisters at that going into the white man's military. There should be no women in the military anyway. We'll get to that later, but that's just a brief outlook on that. We'll get more into it later. You got anything, Natazak, before we continue?
I mean, just piggybacking off of what you were saying, like not having any like pride within serving the military. Like I was real heavy what you was talking about as far as like people just doing it just to do it. Like as far as like regaining resource, it's not really like something that's people like find it as a noble thing. Now probably Esau probably does. Mm-hmm. They probably take it as like their grandfather served and their dad served, so you know what I mean, it's only right for me to serve. But us as Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans, you know what I'm saying, like we take it as just like something that we do just to avoid, you know what I mean, the street life, or avoid, you know what I mean, we think that it's going to be a something like comes after it, like something will come out of it, like I can start my career in here, or you know what I mean, like it's not just, oh, I'm coming to serve Esau's military because I have that, you know what I mean, red and white and blue spirit, and I'm just trying to do what's best for my country and stuff like that. Like, no, we don't have that. It's more so for the resources than it is the actual background and pride of it. You know what I'm saying? But that's all.
Yeah, and if before I continue, you know, the Navy, you know, I'll speak from just my own experience, right? They have this slogan. It's called having honor, courage, and commitment, right? I'm telling you right now, there is no honor, there is no courage, and there is no commitment in Esau's military. I'll get more into that later. We'll continue reading when we were at war, but we're serving in our armies. This is our military force. That's what we got to take into heed real quick. This is brothers serving alongside their brothers. You know, we are one people, 12 tribes, but same nation, right? So let's keep reading. This is the book of Numbers, chapter 31. We'll go to verse 9. And the children of Israel took all the women of Midian captives and their little ones, and took the spoil of all their cattle and all their flocks and all their goods. It's like that saying, you take the spoils of war. And they burnt all their cities wherein they dwelt, in all their goodly castles with fire. And they took all the spoil and all the prey, both of men and of beasts. And they brought the captives and the prey and the spoil unto Moses and Eleazar the priests, and unto the congregation of the children of Israel, unto the camp at the plains of Moab. So these are in the Moabites as well, right? This will be your so-called Chinese, which are by Jordan near Jericho. And Moses and Eleazar the priests and all the princes of the congregation went forth to meet them without the camp. And Moses was wroth with the officers of the hosts, with the captains over thousands and the captains over hundreds, which came from the battle. So you can see right here, there's already a chain of command. There's authority that is placed, right? Because I know there's some brothers, look, I'll keep it real with you. I know some of us might have not had like a good father figure in our lives, or lack thereof a father figure, didn't really grow up with a lot of discipline. Because we all know, like, a lot of brothers today, we don't like to listen to nobody. But what we got to understand is, for a nation to build, you need to have a chain of command. Don't believe me? Okay. Y'all love Esau so much. Esau has a chain of command. They're wicked as hell, but they have certain people that they answer to. Okay, that's why they're able to take over everybody. It's not because they're strong. It's not because they're more physically adept than you. It's not because they're faster than you. No, it's because even as wicked as they are, they do have a sense of unity between their people. They stick with their people. They have authority. They I'm not gonna say they honor, but I'll say that they listen to whoever is the head of them. They have a chain of command. We once had a chain of command. Now, as a nation, as a whole, outside of the ISUPK, we don't have a chain of command. That's why you see all these blacks and Latinos who are looking to these celebrities, these public figures as leaders. We were just talking about it earlier. For example, Drake. Drake is no different than any other rapper, any other celebrity. He's a brother who is rich and he's enjoying the spoils of life. He does all types of wicked stuff. He makes some good music here and there and then goes back on about his business. So recently, the brothers spent like $60,000 of Chanel bags for strippers. Now, this is nothing new, right? Like rappers do this all the time. The issue that we have with this is that we always like to think that, okay, money is the issue. Money is always the issue. No, lack of brotherhood is the issue, because we have black millionaires. We have black billionaires. Wasn't Kanye? I don't know if he's a billionaire anymore, but he was a billionaire for a little bit. Jay-Z's a billionaire.
I think he's still a billionaire.
I think yeah.
I don't think like a contract takes away. I mean, the contract put him in a billionaire status. Well, I mean, he had $2 billion, but
yeah, but he had a lot of money though.
I think they're just saying that now his worth is
like less
than $2 billion because he won't be making as much.
But either way,
if you got $2 billion, you got $2 billion.
Yeah, like you still a billionaire, right? Jay-Z a billionaire. There's other we got sisters that are almost billionaires as well. But now we have sisters that are billionaires, Oprah and all them. So my point being is we got people with money, okay? But what are we doing with this money? What do brothers always like to do once they get money? You get up out the hood and then you want to buy women. You want to go to the strip club. Now you ain't even got to go to the strip club anymore. You can just subscribe to somebody's OnlyFans online. You want to buy all this jewelry and look, ain't no problem looking a little fresh or whatever. But brothers will literally spend millions of dollars on carnal things. I don't know if y'all remember, quick recap. This is like a couple classes ago when Solomon was visited by the Most High in a dream. And the Lord said that he will give him anything he wants. But Solomon, before he, kind of fell off, Solomon was like, I want to learn how to govern my people correctly. So he prayed for wisdom. He didn't wish for carnal things. But on top of him gaining that wisdom, he also got, some stuff on the side. He got the riches, he got the longer life, the honor. But the whole point was his character. This was King Solomon. This was a king, okay, who had literally 1,000 women, all right, who's rich and lived in a palace. But his concern at the time was, I want to learn how to govern my people and be there for my people. That's what a real leader is supposed to do. You're supposed to lead your people. Just because you got money doesn't mean that you're a leader. That leads to the problem with our communities today. We don't have a chain of command. Like Kanye, don't get me wrong, Kanye did preach some truth for a little bit, but the brother is not in the ISUPK and the Command in General Yohana. He's still a brother in the world, and he doesn't follow the Bible correctly because he still messes around with them Armenian women and all that. So because of that, a lot of people don't stand with him. Same thing with Kyrie. Kyrie, he took a very peaceful approach. All he did was post a link to a documentary that he didn't even make. And I seen the interviews. Kyrie is very respectful. He's choosing his words very wisely. For a brother in the world, I give credit where credit is due. Mm-hmm. But you see what's happening with him. Now they're cutting him off. They tried to make him pay $500,000 to anti-Semitic corporations or whatever. And I'm like, damn, okay. So you mean to tell me Jewish people can get reparations for somebody posting a documentary, a link to a documentary at that? They get you get $500,000 for that. I don't think they accepted it, but my point being is, okay, if that's the case, why don't black people get reparations for all the slave movies that these Jewish people who run Hollywood continue to push? Where are reparations? We got a couple of movies about natives being slaves too, or they try to make it seem like they're just wild animals or whatever. It was some interview not that long ago where somebody called natives wild creatures or native creatures or some stuff like that. And I'm like, damn, y'all just coming straight out and saying it. Y'all don't even give a damn anymore. So where's our reparations? Where's our anti-Semitic movements? We don't get none of that because we're still in captivity, because we don't have a chain of command. We don't have a power structure. And here we do. That's why we look so foreign to some people, because they look at us like me and a brother right here, and we'll take an order from a brother and we say Khan or Khan, and we get that order done. And then, some brothers might mock you like, oh, that's your daddy or whatever. That's what you're going to do. You're going to listen to what this man, you a grown man. Yeah, you're right. We are grown men who respect the men that are above us, and we follow orders, and vice versa. There are men that are under us, and when we give out an order, they honor that order. It's a chain of command, right? That's brotherhood, because by you following that order, you're serving your nation. It's not always about you. We're always so selfish, Salakia. But just to kind of continue, right? Again, this is when we were at war with the Midianites and the Moabites. So let's start at verse 15. And Moses said unto them, have ye saved all the women alive? So we just read Moses was wroth, right? And he's questioning these officers and these captains. He's like, you saved all these women alive? Because you can kind of tell where this is going. Like, oh, you killed all the men, okay, and you saved all the women. What you saving all the women for? Because remember, interracial marriage is a sin, right? We've read that all throughout the Bible. So what you keeping Midianite women for? That's where Moses is alluding to, right? So let's keep going. Verse 16. Behold, these caused the children of Israel through the counsel of Balaam to commit trespass against the Lord in the matter of Peor. And there was a plague among the congregation of the Lord. So we committed trespass. What do you think that trespass was? Brothers were sleeping with these captive women. This is something, if I could real quick, right? Because a lot of fake Israelites will read these scriptures and they love to allude to the idea that when we get our time, right? Because it's already happening right now. And it comes our time to, rise up and conquer other nations as we've done in the past. They'll teach you that, we're going to take their women and we're going to have our way with them and all this. No, we not. No, we not. That's not going to be happening. There ain't going to be like when the scriptures say, I'm paraphrasing, whoever was put in captivity shall be, whoever was letting in, who that leadeth into captivity shall be put into captivity. That doesn't mean that we're going to be sexually assaulting their women and all that. No, it ain't going to be none of that. That is a sin, and you're disgusting, and you have a lustful spirit to any brother that wants to teach that garbage. That will not be happening, okay? I just wanted to throw that out there, because even in the times of Moses, brothers were doing this. Brothers took heathen women as spoils of war, and they were having sex with them. And we just read right here, this was a trespass that was committed against the Lord. I'll go a little bit more into that, right? Before I continue, you got anything now, Isupk?
Shoot, as far as like the war of Moses, this all leads into us getting into our land. You know what I'm saying? So, when you summarize it, it's like, okay, so the Esau is in celebration of their veterans and the people they lost during the time period of them conquering and taking over people's land. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But the only problem what they did was they touched God's chosen people.
Right.
And they didn't just conquer, they did a lot more than that. You know what I mean? When you look at all of the information of what Esau was doing during the time period of their taking over this land and bringing us here and having us fight in their wars and everything. Like when you look at all the history and all the details of everything that happened to our people, like that. I mean, I don't know if you've seen it already, but that new movie, Wakanda Forever.
I didn't watch it yet.
Yeah, it was just they show a glimpse of the conquistadors.
Oh, you seen it?
Yeah, con. You know what I mean? So they're slowly but surely bringing out everything that was happening in the past. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So they give you a glimpse of our Native American and Hispanic brothers and sisters. You know what I'm saying? They were being enslaved and they were being stripped of their identity and having to serve a person who changed their whole format of the way they speak and the traditions that they follow and everything like that.
They were showing that?
Yeah, they show that in the movie.
Oh man, that's crazy.
So, you know what I mean, it slowly but surely gets exposed and it slowly but surely gets seen of everything that we've been sitting over here talking about. You know what I mean? As far as everything that our people have been through that, you know what I mean, represents, you know what I mean, or just is proof that of everything that we've been saying up here, you know what I'm saying, or the things that we bring out that's brought out in history that people didn't even know, you know what I mean, didn't know and didn't believe, because our school system is not meant to teach us that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Esau's army is not meant to teach that. Esau's army is just makes you believe that you are doing this because you're fighting for the freedom of the people who are here. But look at our people who are here. You know what I mean? You Black, Hispanic, and Native American, when you go in there and you go serve, look at what's going on with your people. You're in poverty. Your people, I mean the majority of your people are in poverty. The majority of people are in prisons. Majority of your people are on the border. You know what I mean, in cages. Like, this is what our people are suffering through. Majority of our people. You know what I'm saying? I mean, our people in Mexico are trying to get over here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Not like, I mean, we suffering enough out here, but just think how bad they're suffering to the point where they have to come and they would rather just deal with our suffering than deal with the suffering that they're doing out there. You know what I'm saying?
Man, if I may, real quick, not to cut you off, but like, you know, because I've had like some conversations. I mean, because, you know, this is like mainly Isupk territory, but like, you know, I spoke with like, I work with a lot of Isuprites at my slave, and you know, they because a lot of them are like from like Michoacan and like, you know, like more like southern Mexico,
right.
And they were telling me like all the stuff that happens over there, and I'm like, damn, I thought we had it bad, right. Like that's crazy. Right. And it's like a brother, like he's literally telling me like about like how the cartel gets down, what happens to them out there, and then of course when they come over here, like the little like communities, especially like in like LA, and like all like the sex trafficking and how they be abducting women and all this stuff, and I'm like, this is hell, right? Like this is hell. Like you got to think like how depressing that must be. Like you leave your country to come. I mean, really, this was all Mexico at one point, but you leave your country to come to the Americas and hope for a better life. And then it still sucks. Like, you know, everybody likes to make it seem like, you know, the good old US of A, you know, America with a bald eagle and stuff. Like, that should let you know right now that American dream is just a dream. Right. That's all it is. You know, you come over here, it don't matter. Like, I'm going to tell you right now, if I could real quick, right? Being a so-called Black, Latino, or Native, like Israel doesn't wipe away no matter what you wear. When we went into the Navy, we would go into the Marines, and we put on that uniform. You know, you get the little, oh, thank you for your service and all that stuff. But as soon as that uniform comes off, you are just another nigga.
Right.
Salakia. Okay, because it's happened to me. It's happened to a lot of other brothers. Perfect example, I was driving one time. This was years ago. I'm driving. I get pulled over, right? 2 cops come out. Of course, they're both Caucasian. One of them comes up, you know, asking, you know, license, registration, all that stuff. The other one, I could see him through my mirror, and he has his hand on his pistol. So I'm just like, you gotta be freaking kidding me, man. Like, all right, so I get my license, registration, but something told me, okay, let me show my military ID just to see what happens. When I showed them my military ID, now all of a sudden, oh my gosh, you're in the Navy? Oh, my dad was in the Navy. What command are you? And like, you know, the whole vibe switched up, because now in your eyes, oh, I'm one of you now. I served in your military. You know, I served your country. So now I get a free pass. But about 2 seconds ago, I was just another nigga. You know, I gotta get out of jail free card. Literally. You know, that's what happened. But the thing is, none of that matters when that uniform comes off. Even when the uniform is on. There's a lot of things that go on inside of the military that y'all don't know, right? But
it's like, if I may,
go ahead.
You have a perfect example of what you're talking about is that one brother who got maced by the cops. He had a full-blown military outfit on. You know what I'm saying?
Talking about the brother I know who you're talking about.
At the gas station.
Yeah. He was in he was a lieutenant. For those of y'all who don't know, there's two different there's non-commissioned and commissioned. Non-commissioned is like, you know, you're enlisted. Think of that as more like you're a worker bee. But then your commission is like your lieutenants, your captains, your admirals. Those are like your high-ranking personnel. I remember that. Yeah. He was at the gas station. Yeah, that brother, he had full uniform, and he got maced right there. And I remember, damn, that's crazy. I remember that because that same location was about, I think, like 20 minutes from where my old base was. And I could hear the pain in this brother's voice. He's like, you know, I've served this country. You see, like, even in uniform, you are not one of these people.
So you fencing to ride the lightning.
I remember that. I remember that. Salakia. But, you know, these are important things to know. I'm just like, I got a lot to talk about. This is kind of like I'm kind of reminiscing right now. But you know, the reason why we're reading Numbers chapter 31, we'll get a little bit more into it real quick, right? I want to talk a little bit about this trespass that was made against the Most High, because we just read it, right? You know, we took the spoils of war and whatnot. So I'm going to continue reading, and we'll dive into a different topic real quick. Not a different topic, but get a little bit more into modern day military, right? So right here, we'll go back to the book of Numbers, chapter 31. Let's go to number 17, right? It's like not number 17, verse 17. Now, therefore, kill every male among the little ones, and kill every woman that hath known man by lying with him. But all the women, children that have not known a man by lying with him, keep alive for yourselves. And do ye abide without the camp 7 days. Whosoever hath killed any person, and whosoever hath touched any slain, purify both yourselves and your captives on the 3rd day and on the 7th day. So that's the end of that, right? So now, again, brothers will read this, right? And they be like, well, you see, it says right there, it says, you know, take all the women that have not known man, like a modern day version. You know, that's to sleep with them. That's to sleep with them. See, we're going to take these women captive and we're going to have them. Let me show you something real quick. Let me show you something. We're going to go to Numbers chapter 25. 25 and Salaki. I just had it. And the priest, 25 and let's go to 5. So it says right here, and Moses said unto the judges of Israel, slay ye every one his men that were joined unto Baal Peor. And behold, one of the children of Israel came and brought unto his brethren a Midianitish woman in the sight of Moses, and in the sight of all the congregation of the children of Israel, who were weeping before the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And when Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron the priest, saw it, he rose up from among the congregation and took a javelin in his hand. And he went after the man of Israel and into the tent and thrust both of them through the man of Israel and through the woman, Slakia, and the woman through her belly. So the plague was stayed from the children of Israel. So this is again interracial marriage. You're not supposed to sleep with other nations of women. They were ordered to take these women captive. Yeah, they were captive. That don't mean you sleeping with them, but that's what brothers did. They slept with them. So this cuts all that we going to take their women and do to them what they did to our women. We ain't doing none of that. We will not be doing any of that. Anybody who teaches that mess, you're lying and you're going against the Bible. Because by what you're saying is You saying that Phineas, the son of Eleazar, was wrong for what he did. You saying that Moses was wrong. And you ain't Moses. And you ain't Phineas neither. I'll tell you that right now. Okay? Those were righteous brothers. Now, my point being is this Slakia. This plague that we had on our people was due to interracial marriage, and this is due to brothers not following orders. This is why we had a chain of command. The brothers were not supposed to do this stuff, but they did it anyway. So because of this, a plague was set on our people. You see what happens when you don't listen to the men above you, where you don't recognize your chain of command, when you don't adhere to what your people are telling you, it causes destruction. Right? And this is exactly what Esau does to our people, right? He wants confusion. This is why he gives you all these labels of Indian and black. And like, first of all, I know quite a bit of Native American brothers and sisters who hate being called Indian because they're not Indian. Indians, they're in India. They're not Indian, all right? But when the conquistadors came over here, some of them thought they was in India. So they're like, oh, look at all these Indians like that. No. That's why they get so offended, right? And then we get called black. Like, black is a color. All right, like that's a shade. That's a skin tone. What was I before that? Well, yeah, we got you from Africa. Okay, what was we doing over there? I don't know. We know when we bring up the Negro land map and we show that the kingdom of Judah was located near Benin, right, in West Africa, people are like, oh no, that's a conspiracy. No, it ain't. As a matter of fact, y'all love to believe in what the conquistadors tell y'all so much. You know what's crazy? You want to know who made that map? It was a white man. So they knew what was going on. But they ain't gonna teach you that in school. And if I could, real quick, there's something else that they don't teach you in school. This is because you brought up something earlier that I wanted to touch on. How the education system today, they don't teach you certain things, right? So I wanted to, because this boggles my mind that a lot of people actually don't know this. So when so-called African Americans and Native Americans, right, the Southern and Northern tribes, as we know them, when we were put together, everybody loves to bring up the Buffalo Soldiers. These were black men who served under the white man's military, and they were invading Native American land, and they were killing some of the natives because these brothers, well, they were COONs, okay? They turned on their allies, who were the Native Americans, and they wanted to be approved by their slave master and wanted citizenship because you got to remember at one point, we were valued as 3/5 of a man. You understand? So we thought, hey, if I serve massa in them, then, maybe I get in the big house. Maybe that'll happen. So we turned on the Native Americans. That was due to European influence. Also, there were certain Native indigenous tribes. I believe it was the five First Nations, the Cherokee, the Chickasaw, not the Seminole Indians though, that had black people in slavery. And people like to bring that up. Oh, see, they had us in slavery. What they don't tell you is that the conquistadors were the ones that influenced Native Americans to have black people in slavery. And when they did have us in slavery, some, not all, they didn't really have us in slavery the way you think they did. It wasn't like, I'm not going to make it seem like every single Gadite was being very brotherly, but a lot of them had us in captivity to kind of protect us from the Europeans, right? Some of us were even treated better than some of the other natives. We were marrying their women. We were having children. We were having unions. But Esau did not want that. So I'm going to read a little something. This is called the Black Indians. It's the Black Indians, right? Called a forgotten or hidden heritage. And in chapter 8 alone, it says right here, their mixing is to be prevented. And it says in Latin America, bear with me now, because remember, we were called black, we were called Africans, we were called many different things, right? So I'm just going to read what's in here. In Latin America, Africans have found safe places to hide and many Indians to aid them. Europeans were reluctant to seek out these remote hideouts. In North America, Africans were not so lucky. Because in South America, we're still colonized, but we had a little bit more help, if you will. To begin with, there were fewer Indians. The largest body of Native Americans east of the Mississippi, the Iroquois Confederacy, never numbered more than 16,000 men, women, and children. There were no rugged mountains, impenetrable jungles, and few hidden havens for runaways. Slaves who ran to the forest and the hills found fewer red hands of friendship and little military support. Daring fugitives, which Slakia could reach Indians in the backwoods, but so too could slave hunters and their tracking dogs. So right there off rip, they're already telling you that they don't want us allying with each other because they knew that if so-called African Americans and Native Americans came together, we would win. Because you gotta remember, like we were helping each other fight them, right? We were fighting about what was it, the British colonies in the East Coast. That was the first 13 colonies. We were helping Native Americans fight off the conquistadors, but they didn't want that. They have a whole chapter literally telling you that they didn't want Native Americans and African Americans siding with each other because it was going to lead to them losing. I had it in here somewhere, Salakia. You got something real quick? I'm going to try to find it.
Yeah, because they'll try to blot out history and try to make it seem as if, like, Native Americans were... I'm just going to your point of people trying to bring up, like, oh, yeah, well, Native Americans had slaves, so how could they be part of the 12 tribes? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, you just brought it out. Like, it was those agent tribes, you know what I'm saying? Or some tribes were trying to get, us away from them. But you get examples out of history, you got like Gasper Yanga, you got like, like different type of examples of us fighting together in order to prevent ourselves from being conquered, you know what I'm saying? Or being, getting away from slavery or getting out of slavery, you know what I'm saying? So there's different examples in history of showing us working together, fighting together, you know what I'm saying? And, getting ourselves in a position where we can overcome the oppression that was being brought to us at that time period.
Like you said, like we were helping each other, but like you said earlier, I'm glad you brought that out. This was a piece of history that they didn't want us to know. They don't teach this in school, right? So I'm gonna read a little bit more for y'all because I know, there's this whole, this is biblical, Southern versus Native, Southern versus Northern tribes, right. So I'm gonna read why the Europeans did not want Native Americans and African Americans to side with each other. So it says right here in the Black Indians, page 120, despite every European effort to keep one people of color from assisting the other, the two races began to blend on a vast scale. Black Indians were apparent everywhere if one bothered to look. Thomas Jefferson, for example, found among the Mattaponis of his Virginia more Negro than Indian blood in them. Another eyewitness reported Virginia's Gingaskin reservation had become largely African. Of course, not like Hamite African, but remember, we were in Africa at the time, so this is what we were labeled as. Peter Combe, whose famous diary described a visit to the British colonies in 1750, took note of many Africans living with Indians, with marriage and children, the normal result. So, we were always, like, here's the thing. When Southern tribes were rejoined with their Northern tribe brothers and sisters, even the Europeans, like the Edomites, they said, like, wow, these people are very similar. Even though we may look a little different, we had similar customs. We both honored family. We were mixing in with each other. And really, it's not mixing in because we're the same nation. It's like we're the same nation, just different tribes. But to them, we're different races because we got categorized differently. But we lived in harmony, right? But they couldn't allow for this to happen. So it says the British authorities repeatedly tried to convince Native Americans to return the slave fugitives they harbored in their village. So remember, we were fleeing from European persecution into the Native American tribes, right? And the natives were protecting us. And what the British were trying to do was go to the natives like, hey, fork them over, because you got to remember, they was already trying to kill the natives, but they were like, the black people, they're a little physically stronger. We'll have them as slaves instead. How about you just give them over to us, right? But the natives, they wasn't playing that. So it says, but here they collided with an Indian adaptation system that allowed new members and offered them full protection. Like I said, protection. When whites argued about the right of private property in owning people and insisted Africans were inferior beings, the Indians shrugged no. So they was like, F all y'all. Okay, these are our brothers and sisters. We don't give a damn what y'all got to say. They come to our soil, they are free, right? It's like the same thing with when the southern tribes fled to Mexico. We fled through the border of Mexico, and then the Mexicans said, once they come over here, they're free. You can't come over here. Okay, these are our people now, right? And in return, what did we do? It said African members of the Indian nation often played a vital part in armed resistance to whites. In 1727, Africans and Indians besieged Virginia frontier settlements. During the French and Indian War, a British officer warned about the two races, said their mixing is to be prevented as much as possible, because when we allied with each other, them white folk were losing. They were losing, because you got to remember, they like Gad, Issachar, Ephraim, like the northern tribes, they was already here. Remember, they split off a long time ago. So they brought us over thinking that, things was going to be sweet, but it wasn't. We got over here and our northern tribe brothers and sisters like, nah, we got y'all. And in return, we was like, you know what? Thanks for that. We're going to help y'all fight them off, because they was trying to take over their land. So this is why Esau is so strategic. He was able to split us up. That's a military tactic, because we were too strong together. So if you want to honor, some war, you want to honor some veterans, honor those brothers. Honor the black people who were helping the Native Americans fight off European persecution. Honor Native Americans who were helping us flee into their tribes and adopting us into their tribes, so that we wouldn't get persecuted by the Europeans. We were helping each other fight wars against them. That's a real Veterans Day, if you will, okay? Not serving in the white man's army. Because when you serve in Esau's army, now I get to talk about the other stuff. Salakia. Before I even continue, you got anything not to say? Because I want to go on a tangent.
No.
I'm okay. But
go
in today's Salakia, how much time we got? I'm going to try to make this short because I got a lot to say. In today's military, right, you see all the tribes. You see so-called African Americans, Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans. You see all of us, right? And we serve in the white man's military. And, how they strategically indoctrinate you is something of a mastermind. Okay. When I went into basic training, my senior chief, he was an Edomite. He called it the boiled egg theory. I was confused of what that meant. What it means is you gotta, how if you boil an egg, you boil it at the right temperature, eventually it'll cook evenly. But if you boil it too hot, it'll crack. So he's like, so we gotta groom y'all in order to be indoctrinated into a Navy lifestyle. So how do they do this? When you first go into basic training, they make you stay up for 24 hours. Doesn't matter where you're from, so that you all get on the same sleeping schedule. Then, this is to introduce that LGBTQ lifestyle. They make y'all shower together in a big community shower. All the women over there, all the men over there, right? Then you eat together. You sleep in the same barracks room together, all together, right? All these different nations. And then while you're in there, they make you feel like you are nothing. You are the bottom of the barrel. You are scum on the earth. You have no say-so. You have no rights. You are to be told what to do, and that is it. I was straight up told I get paid to do, not to think. Pretty much, in a sense, just be a good little slave. That's it, right? And there was no unity in there when it came to brothers. Because you see how like Shaq and Charles Barkley, they trying to sell out Kyrie Irving, whatever. Yeah, there was a whole bunch of those running around. So there was no unity in there. And for the sisters, this is why I said, if you are a so-called Black or Latino man or woman and you have a daughter, if you truly love your daughter, do not put her in the military. I cannot tell you how many times I have heard stories from sisters telling me of how they were sexually assaulted, because they usually say that, when those things happen, It usually comes from somebody you know. They go with a group of people, you know. You got to remember, you go into the you can sign up to go into the military, into the fleet, with a legal guardian or parent as young as 17, and you can go into the fleet when you're 18 years old. So you got to think, when you're 17, 18 years old, you're not grown, you're young. You feel me? So you go in there, you come from the hood, because that's where they go. They set up their little stations in their MEPS programs in predominantly urban areas. So they're looking for people who are not as, how can I say it, who don't have a high education level, if you will, right? Kind of out of options kind of people, us. So they get you in there. They have you in your basic training, depending on which branch you go to. And then you go, at least for Navy anyway, you go to your school. You go to your C school, and C school or A school is pretty much like college. So now you're 18, 19 years old. You're free from your parents. And now you're in a whole different state. And you've been cooped up for 2 to 3 months. Now you just want to wild out. And them sisters will wild out, and they get taken advantage of. They get taken advantage of all the time. If you don't want your daughter getting sexually assaulted by men, and sometimes even other women, do not put them in the military. And brothers get sexually assaulted in there too. They don't talk about that. They don't never talk about that, right? They don't talk about how there's a high suicide rate in Esau's military from all the mental trauma that brothers and sisters got to go through from being separated from their families. I got brothers who was in the army that went out to Afghanistan, and, you know, they got PTSD and whatnot. Brothers who have seen people get their heads cut off out in the ocean when we go on deployment. They don't tell you none of this stuff, right? They don't tell you none of this stuff. And you're doing all this for what? To serve a nation that never loved you to begin with? I did all that for 7 years, and now I come back and like I said, you just another nigga. That's all it is. That's all it is. So no, we do not celebrate pagan holidays. I do not honor Veterans Day. If you wanna honor brothers who have actually fought for their people, honor the brothers who are written in, you know, in the Black Indian hidden heritage, so-called African Americans and Native Americans who are fighting with each other. Fighting for each other. But you can celebrate, not celebrate, but you can honor that. Honor brothers in the Bible who fought for their people. Honor Moses and Aaron who got us up out of Egypt. Honor that. You can honor that stuff, not fighting for a different nation. That's all I got. You got anything, Nadazar?
I mean, you pretty much touched bases on it, like the separation between what we did as a military between what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're just taking over territories, taking people's resources. Like, we fought for our land that was given to us, you know what I'm saying? And in those days of Moses, you know what I'm saying? And Lord willing, we get back there pretty soon, you know what I'm saying? But all in all, that, I mean, there's really not too much to take up off of it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you kind of touched grounds on pretty much everything as far as, you know what I mean, what happened with the differences between the two. You know what I'm saying? The differences between the two as far as, like, what we had to go through in us being conquered and what we were doing in the biblical times in order to get our land that was promised to us. You know what I'm saying? So that's true. I mean, it ain't really much to touch off of it, but I mean, don't celebrate Veterans Day. Sure.
I mean, yeah, that's pretty. I mean, like, yeah. I mean, yeah, that's pretty much the basis of it. Because I mean, like, I don't know, like, it's one of them things. Like, ain't nobody more patriotic than us, if you really think about it. Like, to really sit here, get your land taken away from you, to, you know, be murdered, to be raped. You know, I don't want to get flagged. To be, you know, to get your whole culture taken away from you, and then to serve the same people that did all that. It's like, man, like, how colonized you got to be. Like, I'll be honest with you, Blacks and Latinos got to be the most forgiving people on the planet. I swear, man, because we will sit here and continue to go through this stuff because people like to say, oh, it happened such a long time ago. There's literally Mexican kids in a cage right now. But I know a whole bunch of Mexicans who are in the Navy and in the Marines. There's a lot of Mexicans in the Marines for some reason, right? I see black people who are still shot dead in the street by the police force, but will go into the military and, serve them, right? We'll go into the police force themselves. And it's just like, man, like we just continuously forgive these people over and over and over and over again. But God forbid we say anything that goes against them. They love to sit here and say, well, that happened such a long time ago. You have hate in your heart. You need to forgive. Forgive. That's all we've been doing. That's all we've been doing is forgiving. Right. That's it. Like, I'll tell you right now, Esau is very lucky for now that blacks and Latinos only want to be equal. We've always wanted to be equal, right? We never wanted to be better. We are better. This country was countries, Slovakia, not just the United States, but all the Caribbean islands and South America. We made everything great here. Imagine if there were no blacks or Latinos or Native Americans. Like imagine we all just poof, gone right now. This place would America would fall overnight. We keep this place running because of the Hellenization that they put our people through. And it's one of the reasons why we have one of the strongest military forces in the world, because you got black people up in here. Right. You got Mexicans in the Marines. Like, ain't nobody, like, you got Dominicans in the Army. You got, like, literally. And then for some odd reason, we got sisters up in there. And they, like, Slovakia. Like, the stuff, I can't even repeat on camera, like, the stuff that be happening to them. I was able to kind of touch on it, but, like, protect y'all daughters, man. Like, do not put them in the military. Protect your sons, too. Don't put them in Esau's military. You want your son to serve a real army, bring him into the Isupk and Command General Yohana. Right. Do that. Well, we raise up real men in here. It's not always about who can shoot a gun or who could fight well. Like, nah, a strong body is nothing without a strong mind. Okay, I know brothers that are shorter than me that will outwit any brother out there because they have discipline, because they know the truth of who they are. They know the real problems within their communities. They know how to properly take care of themselves and take orders and give orders. Meanwhile, you got brothers that's built like Shaq in the Navy who can't even wipe their ass correctly without being told to. Slovakia. I'm just keeping it real, right? So yeah, you shouldn't be honoring no Veterans Day because this country was never for us anyway. I got into a discussion with some Edomites at my, it's like one Edomite. The rest of them are Issacharites at my slave because we have a lot of veterans over there, and they always ask me like, what you doing for Veterans Day? And I'm like, nothing. But you served your country. No, I served your country. That's what I did. This ain't my country. I served your country. And I don't take no pride in it. It is what it is. I put it behind me. I'm serving in the Lord's army now. So this is what I'm about. That's done. That old me is dead. I'm not worried about that. And I know plenty of other brothers who, once served in Esau's military who came in here as well. And they put that behind them. Now we real soldiers. We're real soldiers now. We ain't none of that other stuff. Slovakia, that's all I got. You got anything now before we end the class?
Nah, I'm good.
All right. That being said, the wide for everybody that tuned in. If you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe. And because we got to continue pushing this truth out, right? I know it's kind of been a little bit of an upsurge, Most High in Christ, because I guess Kanye wanted to hop on the bandwagon. I guess we'll see how far that goes. And Kyrie, and I'll give respect to Kyrie for this much because he's not in the truth. I don't even think he fully identifies himself as an Israelite yet. Probably not on camera, but for a brother in his position, I will give credit where credit is due. I believe he handled himself the best he could given the circumstances. And if Kyrie or Kanye happens to see these videos, look, you still a brother. I know you in the world, and I know y'all caught up in the riches and whatnot, but come learn the truth for real. All right? Come into the Isupk and the Commander General Yohana, where you could have real protection and you could actually learn how to govern your people correctly. Because if you continue serving them Edomites, they're gonna keep shutting you up. Shaq too, because you was taking pictures with us. You out here calling Kyrie an idiot. You ain't slick neither. Slovakia, that's all I got on that. So with that, we're in the class. Yeah.